James Bible.
You'll have to forgive me. I did not plan a speech today. I didn't come before you today with anything that I had planned on saying. I just got off of a plane 2 hours ago, and I'm here. But I figured since we're in a church, I figured that since we're in the house of the Lord, I figured that since we're here with so many people that have so many interests in civil and human rights everywhere, I could be inspired by you. Thank you. The NAACP is the nation's oldest and largest civil rights organization. We're quickly approaching 100 years old. The NAACP has stood through lynchings. The NAACP has stood up against segregation. The NAACP continues to stand up against injustice anywhere and everywhere. The NAACP chose to stand again in relation to Jena 6. And we stood up not only because Jena 6 and those young men that are currently facing trial, that are currently being treated differently than their white counterparts, are facing an injustice. We stood up for Jena 6 because it's reflective of an environment across this nation in reference to the treatment of people of color and the poor. I gotta move this a little bit because I have a feeling I'm gonna be moving around a little bit too. We can't ignore these injustices. And I come here to tell you that our Constitution is in jeopardy. I say it's in jeopardy because we're still treated as less than full citizens. I say it's in jeopardy because at this stage, human rights are not protected here. I say it is in jeopardy because there are too many contradictions. I say it is in jeopardy because we hold these truths to be self-evident, which is etched in our Constitution. At this stage, is still nothing more than words written by a former slaveholder. I say our Constitution is in jeopardy. And as we unpack the situation that we currently find ourselves in, I say it is in jeopardy because of the criminal system. And some would call it the criminal justice system, but justice hasn't been infused into it yet. So it remains nothing more than criminal. And it's criminal because it doesn't allow us equal participation. It strips us of our rights to vote. It strips us of our rights to employment. It strips us of our rights to housing. It does not allow us to participate fully. And as we look to Jena, Louisiana, and we talk about what happened there and what's going wrong and how things need to change in that noose that draws symbolic hatred and symbolic fear and reminds us of pain of the past and overt racism, I say, we were too late in Louisiana. It shouldn't have taken a noose for the NAACP or any other organization to show up in Louisiana. I say that knowing that the juvenile justice system in the state of Louisiana is one that is broken. There is no justice there. I say that knowing that 90% of the kids that are subjected to the juvenile system in Louisiana waive their rights to attorneys. Bet y'all didn't know that, did you?
Nope.
And the question naturally has to be asked, why do they waive their right? And they waive their right principally because the public defenders in that particular area are so overburdened that they can't get to them. So the child sits in custody day after day, month after month, sometimes year, before they can be represented. So when we talk about criminal history of a child in Louisiana, we have to remember that fact. We have to remember that there's not enough people that are there to represent these kids. So of course there may be a plea. Of course there may be a situation in which a kid who has stood up for other children ends up with a conviction. We cannot ignore that as a reality. But let's not present that this only happens in Louisiana. Let's not pretend that this only happens in the Southeast. This happens in every corner, every town in our nation. And when